Yo, what's going on, guys? And yeah, so my thought was PJ Tucker. It's like nobody really wanted him. No offense to PJ, it's nothing against you, but he's being rerouted to Toronto for Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell is actually having a breakout season that I think nobody's talking about. And with Darko Rajakovic, he's become the defensive dog we thought he was going to be coming out of college, and his three-point shot is falling. Albeit, yes, it's at a low rate, but they're going to get his restricted free agency. The Miami Heat, and I just think he's perfect for this team. We're talking a guy with long arms. He can facilitate a little bit. This season, he's averaging almost 36% from three, 43% from the field in 24 minutes a night, 6 points, about 2 rebounds a night, 4.6 assists. And really, man, yes, I know technically these numbers aren't as good as his rookie year numbers in terms of like production, but his efficiency is at an all-time high. His impact on the floor in his last 5 games, 4 starts, he's averaged 7 points, 5 assists, and 1.6 rebounds in 26 minutes a night. And to me, he's been a guy that I really like coming out. Yeah, he was the 9th pick, and those were really high expectations put on him. And I think he wasn't ever put in like the proper situation to really fully take advantage of his ability. And to me, he's someone that I think if you've been watching, you've seen a guy who's become better with his shot selection. At the start of the year, he was taking 3 to 4 threes a night and they weren't falling. But since December, he's been a guy who's put up about 2 threes a night at 44%, averaging 5.5 points in 22 minutes a game, 4 assists, 1.5 rebounds, averaging just under a steal a night. And he's a guy who is able to shoot very efficiently on the season. As I said earlier, he's shooting 43%, but as of late, he's a guy who's shooting 45% since December from the field. And I think when you look at a Heat team that, with all these trades that have just gone through, I think we're just looking at a squad that made the right move right here. They probably found out PJ Tucker isn't in shape, or PJ Tucker's looking to retire, and they didn't want to buy him out. So they probably were like, hey, would the Raptors, we talked about you and Kyle Anderson, and I bet you the Raptors are like, look, we don't want Kyle Anderson's 3-year deal. What if, when they went back to the drawing board, the Heat were like, look, we're going to take Kyle Anderson, so there's no point in taking PJ Tucker back. So why don't we just go ahead and just trade PJ Tucker? Because we don't know what his expectations are. So I think that's probably the most interesting thing about all of this, is just seeing like this team now, where you're going to have a starting lineup of Khalil Ware, Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins. More than likely, I'd assume Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, 6-man, Terry Rozier. You have Davion Mitchell. Like, I actually like this squad. I think it's an interesting one. You still have Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love, before you even get to Pell Larson. So, like, to me, I think that's another one that I just got really, really excited by the prospect of what that could look like, because I think it's a team that has a really, really high floor now, and they put themselves in a position to be rather competitive. And I think that's the crazy part about all of this, is I don't think a lot of people were thinking that they were going to look this competitive once they put everything together. And I don't know why these highlights are like weird, but yeah, this is kind of like what your new Miami Heat look. And I think you move out Alec Burks down, and sadly you move Kevin Love down, because you're going to have Bam, Khalil Ware, Kyle Anderson be your main like forward rotation, with Kevin Love being the third guy. Then you're up as your center rotation. Then your power forwards and stuff are Nikola Jovic, Kyle Anderson, and Bam Adebayo. And I love this twin tower thing they're doing. Then their wing rotation is crazy. Jaime Jaquez. They sometimes run Jovic out there now. Haywood Highsmith. They have Duncan. They have Andrew Wiggins probably starting. And then you move over. You got Davion Mitchell, who I would love for them to resign. I think Davion just fits what they need, dude. Davion's a fun guy, man. And the fact that they got someone that young on a deal. So the contract details they were able to save $5 million on this. So for Miami, above the tax 2.8 million, below the first apron by 1.96 million, and for Toronto, below the tax by 4.6 million. Shout out Bobby Marks for that. Great deal. And this is expected to be tied into the Wiggins trade. So the Butler Wiggins trade, I guess we should call it. Yeah, I'm amazed by it. I think it's another one of those deals where you look at it and you're like, it made sense why they did this. And the depth chart is one that I really like. I think Davion Mitchell has definitely gotten the short end of the stick. And to me, I think finally seeing him be able to go over to a team like Miami is just going to really help this team emerge, I think, as way better. Because I've told you before, they want to make the playoffs. This is not like, oh, it's a gap year. Nah, like, no, they have the expectations of making the playoffs because of their draft picks, like what's going on with the draft pick. If they don't make the playoffs, it doesn't convey till later on, and they don't get to control their future. So the quicker it conveys, the better it is, because then they get to control their draft again. And that's what they want. That's what anybody wants. So when you look at a situation like that, it makes sense why the Miami Heat, when they made these trades, they're trying to stay competitive. This wasn't some, oh, we're gonna do this just to get here. No, they're trying to raise the ceiling. And to me, I think that's genius. And they're trying to raise the floor as well at the same time. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think they've done a great job in this whole situation, and basically being able to turn lemonade out of the lemons. And I've loved it. I thought it was one of those situations where anybody who followed around knew that it was going to be something that was always dependent on how I personally think the Heat wanted. And I think the Heat did a great job flipping everything and keeping their options open and available. And that's how they were able to put themselves in the position that they are now, where I think they have a really good roster that allows them to be competitive. And yeah, I think that's what's the fun part about this is this team isn't like a bad team. I think it's a really well constructed roster with a lot of length, a lot of size, and one that's going to allow you to play multiple positions and to have different looks that I think a lot of people probably weren't expecting, in terms of, oh, that's like how they wanted to construct this ball club. But I think it's one of those things that's just going to work out, because to them, it just makes sense. And yeah, to some people, it's going to be like, oh, damn, why did the Raptors give up Davion Mitchell? Like, he was having a great year. I just think like they probably were thinking that they didn't want to pay him, and that they were already going to have to pay X, like Brandon Ingram, now that they had traded for him. So I think this was just, hey, let's get out ahead of this and not put ourselves in position to have to pay a salary that we're not sold on. And I think for the Heat, they're like, if this works out, we're going to get a guy that we like his style of play and we think he'll fit the culture. So if that's the case, then it's going to be a great deal. And if it doesn't work out, we just walks in free agency and we got off of Mr. PJ Tucker's money. And I think that's really the biggest thing. Is I think they just realized that PJ was probably not in the shape that they were hoping, and that it was going to be easier for them to move on from him than keep him. And that led to them getting Davion Mitchell. And I think that was the right move. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section if you guys agree with me or disagree. But yep, that's it. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Like, comment, and subscribe.